What's up, guys and gals? It's your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega chapter 230, entitled Determinate, Setakana. Yes, prediction. That's what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing, and some people might think, right out of the gate, just like last chapter, that I'm actually upset at the direction of this fight. The fact that Hatsumi, who has only improved since Cat, and has now gained PI, because he's a private investigator, but he gained PI, and he should be, anybody of Kanade's caliber or tier should be boom 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 packed away like yesterday's dinner, and you don't even remember what the hell it tasted like because it was so goddamn quick, right? No, I'm enjoying this. I am 100% behind this, because now I will be upset. I will call why do this if Hatsumi still does not win. If anything, once again, this is still showing off Hatsumi while giving credence to clearly a fan favorite character of the Four Idiot Trio, but also, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's actually quite interesting here. Because what this chapter is doing, because remember when it was all the hype at the beginning of Omega, at the end of Ashura, is that pre-initiative was the be-all and end-all. Only the S-tiers have it. The best of the best reach a level of foresight that is just beyond. It is just too good. You look like you're using flowing through water, you know, move like water, you know, sting like a bee, move like a butterfly, sting like a bee, whatever it is. You're doing that shit, right? And you're just moving. It's like the attacks are phasing through you. You're leaving the after image technique. That's what PI is. It's the after image technique, 100%. But that was called the be-all and end-all. That's only something that the S tiers, the best of the best fighters, Top Gun initiatives, had, right? And now, one of the very close, some people has him as S tier, some people have him in A tier, some people have him somewhere in between. But now, we've confirmed that Hatsumi Sen has grown. The floating cloud has risen. And now has not only obtained, we don't know how far his Aikido's gotten, we don't know how far anything else has gone, but what we do know is that he has gained PI. Something that sits in the realm of the best of the best. Now granted, PI has been sort of thrown out to, I would argue, lesser individuals since, you know, the beginning of Omega till now. But this is actually really interesting, because instead of saying, okay, we're going to show off Hatsumi, right? He's going to absolutely destroy a or B tier to showcase how much he's grown. We're going to send him against a, what would you call him? A B, C tier? A C, even D tier fighter? Sure. We're going to send him against him with his new PI. However, there's a crux. Oma has been helping him perfect his shortcomings to be the ultimate counter to PI, to pre-initiative. This is actually going to be a good fight now. It could go either way. And I like that. I like that he's perfected determination prediction. I love it. I absolutely love it. Determinate prediction, perfected spiderweb. And it showcases how it works. I mean, yes, it's manga and stuff like that, but he showed, like, Kanade isn't just saying, oh, well, he can follow my mind, like, I force him into a movement. No, it's like, see, I purposely roll my head into a position that is advantageous for this. I put myself in harm's way of moves that I want them to use so that they will subconsciously use them due to the PI. He's using pre-initiative against it. That's all he's doing. It's a long-winded explanation, but at the end of the day, all he's doing is using foresight against the foresighter. That's all he's doing. Is that he's basically, he's not predicting the prediction like pre-initiative versus pre-initiative. He's countering pre-initiative from the get-go. He's forcing, by knowing what his next move will be, he knows what the opponent's next move will be. It works. It sounds the same, but it is different. And I like that. Because you could have just shown Hatsumi kick the shit out of the top of B tier or something like that, and we'd be like, alright, he's grown. Or some guy that people have had in the A tier class and be like, no, this man is risen. Granted, we haven't really had any named attacks from our main man yet, so let's wait. Like, Kanade's going all out. He's using his best arsenal right out of the gate. I haven't seen shit from Hatsumi yet, other than like, alright, let's try out this new thing that the S tier fighters use, you know? Casually. Now, once again, this is not something also that, from what we understand, I don't believe that this is something that pre-initiative users can just, martial artists can turn off. Like, Hatsumi can't just all of a sudden go, downgrade, I'm not using Super Saiyan anymore. I'm not using pre-initiative anymore. I don't think that's exactly how pre-initiative works. When you've trained your muscles and your body and your mind to reach the state of pre-initiative, it's not something you willingly are able to just click on and off like a light switch in your brain, right? So, or if you can do that, it's not as simple as just click. It's like you got to go through the process. There's a cooldown reduction. There's a cooldown period, okay, between using it and not using it, right? Something similar to what Agito went through with martial arts and formless. There was a lag time in between using one or the other. I would argue that if you can turn off pre-initiative in some way, or the inception of intent, if you could turn these things off willingly, then there's got to be a lag time somewhere. Because Hatsumi, partway through this chapter, like Oma before him, recognized he is messing with my thoughts. I wouldn't do that. Triangle hold, that's not me. So he's recognizing the problems, and he does catch a move that would have been fatal. It would have been to a lot of people, as you know, Kanade style is no joke at close quarters if he gets a free shot. The organ breaker attack, you know, the whole, like the 1-inch punch sort of idea, just a more deadly, I guess. The idea here is just, it's just good. It's good because now Hatsumi's newfound strength, his upgrade, is working against him. So, once again, if he could just switch off the PI, which is something he didn't have that we are aware of, he had something really, really close. I would argue even closer than Foresight, which is what we were talking about before. Some people disagreed with me, but I'm saying stacked on the reach limit or whatever Kuroki Gensai called it when Hatsumi was fighting before. You know, the eyesight that Hatsumi has that allows him to like dodge and stuff at the last minute, how he can be so focused and stuff like that. He has basically a version of Foresight or pre-initiative close enough to it. Now he's got that stacked on top, which is why I argue that his pre-initiative is arguably better than anybody else's, because he can stack his natural ability that nobody else had on top of his pre-initiative, which it almost times at 1.25 pre-initiative, right? His pre-initiative isn't necessarily better or worse than anybody else's, but stacked on top is already naturally God-given gift. It makes his pre-initiative the best, right? So that was my explanation before. Anyways, got sidetracked there. My point is that I don't think they can turn this off, but he initially goes, alright, well, and if he could turn it off, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he just turn it off, being like, okay, he's clearly using pre-initiative against me, my thoughts against me, I'll stop using that and I'll fight like I normally would. But he chose not to do that. Instead, he's moving super slow, and he's using, you know, like he's waving his hand, and he's using the, like, come on, come at me. He's baiting him. And at the end, which is a good ending to the chapter, they're sort of baiting each other. One needs to make the first move. Now, granted, even if it's considered perfect, determinate prediction, I don't think Hatsumi's going to be overthrown, because once again, even if they perfected that stage of it, as Kanade said to Oma, like, oh wow, you got me, he goes, are you kidding? I was trying to snap your arm in half. I was trying to break your arm and I can't budge it. What the hell? So once again, the gifted, like the strong and the weak conversation that he had with Gao Lang, it's not going to be the same idea. If he manages to get the first move on Hatsumi at some point, Organ Breaker was a nice try. It was a nice try, but something like he tried on Oma probably won't work on Hatsumi. If anybody's going to just go flex and do that in this fight, it's going to be Hatsumi, not the other way around. Hatsumi's going to be like, oh, well, you nearly broke my arm. Boom! and done with it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and we haven't had any named attacks yet. No new attacks, no named attacks, nothing from Hatsumi yet. I have a feeling that maybe Kanade will get the first strike, but then maybe he'll evolve it. I don't know. I just expect... Either way, Hatsumi winning makes sense. But this has been a great showing by Kanade while still showing that Hatsumi has improved and is that guy by pitting him against what we first thought was going to be a no-diff problem up against the ultimate counter of something that the top tiers have. And we're going to see how Hatsumi, who recently got the top tier ability, is going to overcome that with relative ease, I would argue. He's going to do it with relative ease, and then he's probably going to give a humble opinion about it. But yeah, I really think that that's the right way. Now, if Kanade wins this, we'll talk about if that happens. Because that realistically will destroy it's not just about Hatsumi and Kanade. It's about the idea of a counter to PI. And Kanade has figured that out. And if he can figure it out, maybe he could teach it to other people, like Cosmo and other. He could probably teach this ability to other C, B, D tier fighters and elevate them so it's not so just like before in the original series. It was all about the matchups, not necessarily who's the best for every situation, right? Some matchups are worse than others. You know, some people would have went way farther in the Kengan Annihilation Tournament had they not been matched up against who they were. That's just a fact. And now we're seeing that once again. If you're against your worst outcome, if you're against the perfect counter, which you can actually argue, the Jirota Agito fight was another example of this. Agito had to be so careful of swing, Jirota took advantage of that, and Agito didn't have a great counter for swing. So it was one of those, oh shit, this is actually a bad matchup for me and the way that I fight as an all-rounder. It doesn't work because all-rounders, doesn't matter what move you use, you touch, boom, you're swung. So, yeah. Yeah, either way, I like the fight so far. I like the chapter. It's going different than I expected, but I think it leads a lot to the imagination. You could argue that, well, actually, you're going against yourself for being hypocritical, Griever. If you said that it's good to show that there's a counter to this OP ability or whatever that the top tiers have, wouldn't it be great to show it actually win a fight? And I'm like, yes and no, though. Why? Like, it'd be really weird unless Sandro really hates Hatsumi. It'd be really weird to reintroduce him after all this time in his first fight, show him off as I've improved, I've gained the technique that the top tiers have, all the pedigree that he's got, just to lose to the perfect counter of that. Why wouldn't you show him up against, I don't know, somebody else who uses and take them the distance, you know? It's not the right character to defeat using pre-initiatives counter, you know? Because it's hollow. It'd be a hollow victory. Because I could just come back to you and say, well, Hatsumi learned PI like 5 minutes before the match, so. I mean, you can't prove that obviously he didn't, but you can't prove that he didn't. You can't prove that he just didn't learn it last Tuesday before the match. Because we don't know anything about when Hatsumi gained it, what his training is, any new techniques, what he trained with. We have no idea. We have no idea. All we know is he trained with Mikitsuchiri and the Wu clan. We have no idea what he gained from that training yet. Obviously PI, but we weren't told that, so yeah. It'd be a hollow victory against a recently gained PI user. That's not showing that off. That'd be bad writing. So that's why I still think Hatsumi wins, but now we've seen that PI isn't the be-all and end-all. There are other ways to fight. There's other ways around it. You don't necessarily need pre-initiative to win. And I like that. I like that. I like the idea that there's methods to the madness, right? So we've been presented the idea of it. in this fight and shown its usefulness up against, once again, what I would argue is someone who can take pre-initiative to its maximum capability because of his own natural ability, right? So, anyways, that's it from me, guys. I just really think this fight is very interesting, as you guys can tell, because I've been rambling on here. I found this fight incredibly interesting on both sides, from a writing standpoint, from a fight standpoint, and from a double character standpoint. Kanade is showing a way better showing than I expected, but I like it. And Hatsumi, once again, I mean, I don't know, guys. I don't know why people don't like Hatsumi. I really don't. I don't get it, you know? He's really cool. Yeah, he's a womanizer. So is James Bond. Like, seriously. James Bond was the man, and so was he. Like, come on, man. I don't know. Maybe I grew up in a different age where that was good. I don't know. Anyways, that's it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you beautiful people back here next time for the next Kengan Omega chapter. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Chapter 231. I don't think it'll actually be the end of the fight. I think we get 2 more chapters before the end of the fight. I really do. That's just me, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Sayonara, everybody. Bye-bye.